Hi everyone! Thank you for tuning into my presentation. My name is Morgan Carpenter and I'm a senior student at Mount St. Joseph University. Although I would love to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan presenting my paper with all of you, I'm very thankful to Miha for creating this virtual experience for all of us to talk about our papers and our posters that everyone worked so hard on. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to my paper presentation. My paper is entitled The Materialistic American Dream: How the Great Gatsby and Fight Club Prove That Money Does Not Buy Happiness. So the two novels, hopefully some of you have read them, but if not, I'm going to go into a little bit of background. We'll start with The Great Gatsby because that's probably the one that more of us know. So The Great Gatsby was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald and was originally published in 1925. Main characters include Jay Gatsby, Nick Carraway, who's also the narrator, Daisy Buchanan, and her husband, Tom Buchanan. A quick plot summary if you've never read the book. Nick Carraway moves to West Egg, Long Island, New York. He finds himself living next to the ultra-wealthy Jay Gatsby. He finds himself thrust into a love triangle between his cousin, Daisy Buchanan, her husband, unfaithful husband, Tom Buchanan, and the mysterious Jay Gatsby. If you've read the book, you probably know how it ends, not in Jay Gatsby's favor, but it's a great read, and I suggest you all read it. But our second novel that we looked at in the paper is Fight Club. Fight Club was written by Chuck Palahniuk and originally was published in 1996. Main characters of Fight Club include the narrator, who we later discover is the same person as Tyler Durden, and Marla Singer, Durden's love interest. A quick plot summary was Tyler Durden spends most of the book determined to destroy materialism and to bring masculinity back to society through fight clubs, where men meet each other and physically harm one another. However, he learns that the desire to destroy may ultimately destroy himself, and that materialism still might be running his life. So, back to the title of my paper, The Materialistic American Dream. Both these novels look at the American dream, and both of these novels also look at materialism. Let's start with the American dream. A lot of us have a different definition for American dream. It was first originally described by James Truslow Adams in the book The Epic of America as, quote, that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability and achievement. Throughout history, since this concept of the American dream came about, Americans have utilized it in a variety of ways to kind of fit the current status of American history. So, from advocating for religious freedom to fighting for civil rights, or to even more presently encouraging home ownership and consumption of material goods, the American dream has been used in a variety of ways. For a lot of people, the American dream means freedom. It means love. It means fulfillment and happiness. But for a lot of us, it also means money. And it means having more than what we have now. And that's where these two novels come in. So, although both these novels explore material wealth in a different way, with the characters of The Great Gatsby desiring wealth and wanting more than they have, and the characters of Fight Club aiming to destroy materialism in money and goods to achieve their version of the American dream, both novels provide great insight on how materialism impacts society and the people within it. So let's start with The Great Gatsby. A little bit of background on Gatsby. It's set during the summer of 1922, during a time often referred to as the Roaring Twenties or the Golden Age. We were just exiting World War I. People are looking towards this new decade of rebuilding and prosperity. And as the 20s go on, life begins to reflect what is in Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, especially life in urban areas. Young women and men revolt against prohibition, they consume copious amounts of illegal alcohol, they dive into new forms of media like film and radio, they embrace new fashion and lifestyle trends, and they spend money freely and very carelessly. So, in The Great Gatsby, materialism is one of the major themes of the book. Gatsby desires material wealth more than anything except Daisy Buchanan. He believes that materialism and consumption of wealth and having just an extravagant lifestyle is how he will get Daisy. He is not from wealth. He grows up as a young, poor person in rural America. His name is Jimmy Gatz, and he joins the military. Then, when he's a soldier, he falls in love with Daisy Buchanan and realizes that he'll never have her unless he is wealthy, because she is rich and she lives an extravagant lifestyle. So, in his mind, as 17-year-old Jimmy Gatz, he decides that he's going to be someone that Daisy would want, which causes him to become Jay Gatsby. Jay Gatsby works his entire life to achieve material wealth. He believes that if he continues to accumulate expensive property and possessions, he'll become more attractive to the woman he loves and will achieve his American dream of having her and all of the material wealth she could desire. However, as The Great Gatsby progresses, the reader realizes that even though Gatsby has accumulated all of the material possessions he could ever want, he will never have what he truly desires, his true American dream: love. The Great Gatsby ends by kind of making the reader reflect on whether or not all of the wealth ever made anyone in the novel a better person, or made them happy, or allowed them to achieve their American dream. So, on to our next book, Fight Club. Unlike in The Great Gatsby, the novel Fight Club is drastically different. The narrator, Tyler Durden, believes that money and material goods are the root of society's problem. That is what's getting in between him and his American dream of freedom. Tyler Durden has worked throughout his life to destroy all of his material wealth. He destroys his own house and possessions in the beginning of the novel, and he tells the reader that through building your own home and accumulating more wealth, you become, quote, trapped in your own lovely nest, and the things you used to own, now they own you. So, a little bit about Fight Club. It's set in the 90s, which is a drastically different time period than 1920. Fight Club is surrounded by the accumulation of material goods. Americans in the 1990s did not have to work for their wealth like people in the 1920s had to. According to Dr. Angela T. Ragusa in her paper, American Materialism, Consumerism, and Social Values, a sociological analysis of social issues and value priorities, the distinguishing characteristic between contemporary new rich and those of bygone eras is that today millions of families have tried against the necessity. They are, by any historical standards, rich. So they are ready to pursue happiness, but this is where the problem begins. They don't know where to find it. That's Tyler Durden's problem. He has everything he could want. He's not trying to accumulate goods to be happy. He has the goods, yet isn't happy. So in his mind, he thinks that through the destruction of these material goods and through the destruction of the systems of society that tell men that they should accumulate goods and work for money and build a house, he decides that he doesn't want any of that. He wants to destroy it. So, to Durden, material possessions make a man less masculine. And Durden's goal throughout Fight Club is to prove that himself and the rest of the men surrounding him are real men. Therefore, he creates the Fight Clubs. Because through physical fighting, he feels that men are back at their truest form and that they're not controlled by society or by material or by women. He tells the reader that the things you own end up owning you. It is only after you lose everything that you're free to do anything. Durden spends the whole novel committed to destroying all of his possessions. And at the end, he finds that he isn't happy either. He puts all of his energy into running these fight clubs. He then puts all of his energy into Project Mayhem, which their goal was to, quote, teach men in the project that they had the power to control history and that it was going to save the world. It was going to start a cultural ice age, a prematurely induced dark age, because in the dark age was when men were real men. However, the novel ends with Tyler Durden at the top of Parker Morris Building, and Project Mayhem is destroying everything around him. but he realizes that he was still infatuated his whole life with materialism. So, bringing the two novels together, they seem very drastically different. But in the afterword of Fight Club, the author writes, quote, "Really what I was writing was just The Great Gatsby, updated a little bit." According to Palahniuk, both novels are essentially a twisted version of a romance, where the main male character does not get what he wants in the end. To me, what they want is the achievement of their own American dream. And neither one of them get that due to materialism, due to their own infatuation with material goods. So, both Jay Gatsby and Tyler Durden allowed materialism to rule their lives, and they never truly achieved their own American dreams. To be happy, to be fulfilled, to have love. Neither one of them ever achieved that. So, through the focus on materialism, the main characters in both novels have lost sight of their true dreams. The Great Gatsby and Fight Club both prove that money cannot buy happiness or the American dream. Thank you so much for listening to my paper presentation. I truly appreciate the time that you spent listening, and I hope that you enjoyed it.